Gold runs in the blood of the Beets family. In the Yukon wilderness, where success is measured in ounces of gold and the roar of heavy machinery never ceases, the Beets name has become synonymous with mining royalty. At the heart of this empire stands Tony Beets, the legendary miner known for his booming voice, iron will, and multi-million-dollar fortune. But quietly behind the camera glare and diesel smoke, another Beets has been shaping the future only to walk away from it all. Kevin Beets, the eldest son, wasn't just another worker on the claim. He was the unsung architect of many of the Beets family's greatest accomplishments. From his teenage years in the dirt to managing full crews and resurrecting century-old dredges, Kevin built his reputation not with bravado, but with brains, patience, and skill. Yet when he finally stepped away, it wasn't with a grand farewell or a pot of gold. What Kevin left behind was more powerful than riches. It was a wake-up call, and it left his family in tears. More than just a miner, Kevin Beets started mining with his father at just 13 years old. He wasn't handed anything. He earned every inch of his place in the brutal world of Yukon mining. By 19, he was leading crews operating million-dollar machinery and making the kind of decisions most people wouldn't trust a young adult with. For Kevin, mining wasn't just a job, it was a lifestyle, a responsibility, and at times a burden. What separated Kevin from most miners, even from his own family, was his sharp intellect. With degrees in both leadership and computer science, Kevin brought something new to the Beets operation strategy, innovation, and technical mastery. He understood the mine as a complex system, not just a series of tasks. His ability to rebuild machines, streamline operations, and manage people made him one of the most valuable assets in the family business. In his rare downtime, Kevin painted Warhammer figures with meticulous care, a symbol of the same precision and patience he brought to the mining site. He wasn't just a miner, he was an engineer, a leader, and a quiet perfectionist. But for all his skill and dedication, Kevin remained in the shadow of his father. Tony Beets, with his massive $30 million fortune and booming persona, was always the face of the operation. He made the big decisions. He took the spotlight, and most of the profits flowed in his direction. Meanwhile, Kevin earned roughly $25,000 per episode of Gold Rush, amounting to around $500,000 per season. A solid income, but in the context of the massive fortune his father had built, it was a small slice of the pie. More importantly, Kevin's role remained limited in one critical way: he wasn't an owner. Despite managing major operations and playing a vital role in the daily grind of mining, Kevin was never elevated to a true leadership position. His siblings flirted with leadership. Tony dominated the decision-making, and Kevin, the workhorse, stayed on the ground. This created a deep and growing frustration that quietly boiled beneath the surface for years. Tensions in the Beets family were never a secret to fans of Gold Rush, but one moment on the show made it clear just how strained things had become for Kevin. During a routine repair involving a malfunctioning water pump, Kevin took the initiative to solve the issue, something he'd done countless times before, but this time something went wrong. A small miscalculation led to a fire, and the family erupted into a fierce argument. The explosion of anger wasn't just about equipment failure. It was a flashpoint revealing years of buried resentment, pressure, and emotional exhaustion. Kevin, normally calm and collected, was visibly shaken. He had given everything to the mine, his time, his youth, his skills, and yet still found himself on the receiving end of blame and criticism. That moment became a symbol of something much bigger. Kevin wasn't just frustrated with a broken pump. He was grappling with something many children of powerful parents face: the crushing weight of legacy and the painful realization that they may never truly step out from under their parents' shadow. In a public interview and on episodes of Gold Rush, Tony Beets openly praised rival miner Parker Schnabel. Parker, a young and wildly successful miner in his own right, was known for his efficiency and leadership. Tony admired Parker's business sense and made sure everyone knew it. The problem is he never said the same about Kevin. To Kevin, this was more than just a compliment to another miner. It was a public dismissal of his own value. While he toiled endlessly to keep the Beets operation afloat, his father's admiration went to someone outside the family. It hurt and it stuck. This, more than any single moment, may have pushed Kevin to reconsider everything. If his own father couldn't see his worth, what was he really working toward walking away from the gold, eventually mining project, a chance to take the reins and prove himself as a leader? For many, it would have been the dream opportunity, but for Kevin, it was too little, too late. Years of feeling overlooked, undervalued, and emotionally drained had taken their toll. He declined the offer, and just like that, Kevin walked away, not in anger, but in quiet determination. It wasn't a dramatic exit. There were no headlines, no cameras following his every move, but the emotional fallout within the Beets family was immense. Tony, who had built his empire with iron fists and hard words, was left shaken. For perhaps the first time, he realized what he had lost. Not just a worker, but a son who had carried the operation for years without asking for credit. Kevin's departure marked the beginning of something rare for Gold Rush veterans. Peace no longer bound by the mines, the cameras, or the pressure of legacy. Kevin began exploring life on his own terms. He poured his energy into gardening, home renovations, and his relationship with his girlfriend, Faith Tang. Away from the chaos of the Yukon, Kevin found something far more valuable than gold: balance. The same attention to detail he used to rebuild machines now went into painting miniatures and tending to vegetables. The skills were the same. The purpose had changed. What Kevin Beets left behind wasn't just equipment contracts or gold reserves. He left behind a message, a powerful reminder that success isn't just about wealth or legacy. It's about self-worth, purpose, and the courage to step away when something no longer serves you. The Beets family is still digging gold in the Yukon. But for all their riches, the absence of Kevin has been felt in every corner of the claim. His legacy wasn't just built on gold. It was built on quiet strength, emotional integrity, and the bravery to choose fulfillment over fame. And for that, the Beets family may cry, but deep down they know Kevin did what many never dared to do. He chose his own path. For years, Kevin Beets stood in the shadow of one of Yukon's most legendary miners, his father, Tony Beets. Known for his mechanical genius and relentless work ethic, Kevin had long played a key role in the family's mining empire, but always as part of someone else's vision. This season that changed. Kevin broke away from the family fold, gambled on himself, and delivered a debut season that left no doubt he's more than just the son of a mining legend. He's a mine boss in his own right. Determined to prove he could make it on his own, Kevin took on the responsibilities of ownership, leadership, and execution. No safety net, no backup crew. Just grit planning and the weight of the Beets' legacy riding on his shoulders. Early challenges, a shredded belt, and a shrinking crew. The season started off rocky. Equipment failure struck early in the form of a shredded feeder belt, halting production and threatening the success of Kevin's first independent run. To make matters worse, two key crew members, Chase Drager and Hunter Canning, were forced to leave mid-season, putting even more pressure on the already lean operation. Leaning on his deep mechanical know-how and raw determination, Kevin managed to keep the plant operational, often working long shifts and handling multiple roles. Key to this success was his partner, Faith Tang, who stepped up in every way possible, from troubleshooting gear to managing morale on the claim. The duo became the heartbeat of the operation, pushing forward even when the odds were stacked against them. Against the odds, Kevin's hard work paid off in spectacular fashion. Over a brutal 3-week stretch of non-stop grinding, Kevin's crew pulled in 375.80 ounces of gold worth over $1 million. It was an impressive haul by any measure, but for a first-time mine boss operating on a shoestring crew and limited resources, it was a breakout performance. And that wasn't the end of it. Thanks to his continued royalties from his share of the Beets family's cut, still one of the largest gold hauls in the Yukon this season, Kevin's final total soared to 57 Oz, pushing his season earnings far beyond his original goal. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement. With this season behind him, Kevin Beets has officially made the leap from behind-the-scenes powerhouse to headline name in the mining world. No longer simply Tony's son, Kevin proved that he can lead a mine and build an operation from the ground up even under pressure, even with setbacks, and even with everything on the line. His story this season wasn't just about ounces of gold. It was about stepping into independence, embracing risk, and delivering results that have the entire Yukon talking.